Hi everyone and welcome to part 14 of my Kobolds and Catacombs card reviews. Today I've got 4 new cards, so a bit of a shorter episode, but stay tuned for that. And be sure to hit the subscribe button because I'll be doing daily videos on all the new cards as they get released. First up for today we have probably the worst card ever released in Hearthstone, and that may not even be an exaggeration to be honest. It's a 6 mana hunter spell, it's epic as well, which makes it even more frustrating. It's called To My Side, and what it does is if you play it, you summon 1 animal companion. However, if your deck has 0 minions in it, then you summon 2 animal companions. Now, there's a lot of issues with this card. So, the animal companion is a card that you can play for 3 mana, and it summons a random beast companion. The companions are Huffer, Leok, and Misha. Now, this card's really good because each of the cards are quite well statted, they have different effects, and in individual situations each can be really good. The downside of course is it is random. So of course if you wanted to summon 2 companions it would cost 6 mana. To My Side costs 6 mana, but there is a huge downside of it only summoning 2 companions, and it only summons 2 companions if your deck has no minions. Now hunters historically rely on having a lot of minions and a lot of beasts and good beasts, so I can't really see where this is going to be played. Now, I've seen a lot of frustration in the community and people saying Blizzard don't know what they're doing, why have they released this card? Well, Blizzard does know what they're doing, and they've obviously got a plan for this card. As it stands today in the game, this is useless. Nobody will ever play it. There are still some cards to be released for this set, but remember they also design cards for future sets. So they design cards a few sets in advance, so they do know what's coming. So this could be something for the future. However, for right now, I cannot see why anybody would want to play this. I mean, even Call of the Wild costs 9 mana, and that's all 3 of them, and that isn't played as much. The advantage of that card is you summon all 3 of them so you know what they are. So you know you're guaranteed to have that 5 charge from the Huffer because it's buffed by Leok, and you know you're going to have the taunt, so it works. The animal companion on its own for 3 mana works because it's good tempo play at that point in the game. But to play for 6 mana, potentially just one of those companions, again it's random so you don't know which one you're going to get, is almost useless. And by that time in the game your opponent's got loads of removal available to them at 6 mana, so I really can't see this being played. I'm interested to see if they do kind of try and steer a hunter deck that way, but whatever we've seen from Hunter in the past and what we see from it now, this card is useless. So on a more positive note, we've got another card which I think is really cool. This is a 2 mana Shaman class card. It is rare and it's called the Murmuring Elemental. Now, this is a 1/1 elemental and it has a battle cry of your next battle cry this turn triggers twice. So that is really cool. We've seen this with Bronzebeard before, which created some really cool combo decks which were really fun. But this one, of course, is just limited to the Shaman class, so it does limit the combos that you can do. But there are some really cool combos to do. So, firstly, it only costs 2 mana, so it's quite easy to play on the same turn as something else. It's a 1/1, so the stats aren't great, but you know the 2 mana cost is great. But you can reduce the cost of it with a Fire Plume Harbinger. Because it's an elemental, you could play 2 Fire Plume Harbingers while this is in your hand and reduce it to 0 cost, which then makes it really powerful. So what kind of battle cries can you use it with? Well, there are some obvious elemental battle cries which would be amazing. Firstly, Calamos Primal Lord. If you played this, you'd get to choose 2 different invocations to cast on your opponent, so that could be a really powerful turn. Even if you don't reduce Murmuring Elemental, you could play that and Calamos for 10 mana, so on turn 10 it would be a really strong play. Servant of Calamos, that is a really good card. Battlecry, discover an elemental, so getting 2 elementals discovered is really quite powerful because it keeps your hand full, gives you more options. You've got the Blaze Caller for 7 mana, so this has a battle cry of dealing 5 damage. If you manage to get it off with the Murmuring Elemental, you're effectively dealing 5 damage for 2 mana, plus you're getting a 1/1 to put on the board as well. So that can be really powerful as well. But where I think Shaman will see some really interesting play with this, is with the Evolve Shaman. Obviously, if you play this with any Jade minions like Aya Blackpaw or the Jade Spirit, it will summon another Jade for you, which is really good because it keeps your Jade train going, so any of those Jade cards work. But I think Evolve Shaman could see a really, really powerful combo with Doppelgangster. So already now what they do is they play Doppelgangster and then Evolve, so for 6 mana they're getting 3 6/6 minions. Well, if you manage to play Murmuring Elemental plus Evolve plus Doppelgangster, that's 8 mana. You could get 5 6/6 minions, and that can be really strong. Suddenly your board is full of 5 6 mana minions. Now, obviously, if you reduce the cost of it with Fireplume Harbinger once or twice, you could potentially play this on turn 6. At the moment, having to wait until turn 8 might be a bit too slow for the Evolve Shaman. Obviously, it's a huge combo being able to do that, but maybe what is really powerful about Evolve Shaman was being able to actually do this combo on turn 6 or even turn 5 if you've got the coin in your hand. Because your opponent hasn't got that many answers. If you wait until turn 8, it would be easier for the opponent to deal with. The other downside is if you're going to be putting 2 Murmuring Elementals into your deck, then of course you have to take out 2 others. If you wanted to run Fireplume Harbinger to try and make the combo even better, then it's 2 more minions you have to take out. It can weaken the Evolve Shaman deck as it is. So we'll have to see whether it sees play, but what I really like about this is it's fun to get these combos off. I really liked Brand Bronzebeard when he was in the game. That was a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to trying out this card, and I think it's a really good one. Next up, we've got a rare minion for the Druid class. It costs 3 mana, it has 3 attack and 1 health, and it's called the Greedy Sprite. Some pretty cool card art. I like the card art on this one. But it has a death rattle of gain an empty mana crystal. So this is obviously a key part of the Druid class, is ramping up their mana so that they can get to higher mana before their opponent. This card I'm not sure is too good though. Any kind of ramping is good in the Druid class, so it is good that they're getting more options. However, I think there are better cards that they could play. So for example, on turn 3 a Jade Blossom would be better. So at the moment people are playing Jade Druid, and this card gets your Jades rolling and it gives you the empty mana crystal, and it gives you the empty mana crystal immediately. Don't forget, Greedy Sprite is a death rattle, so 1, your opponent can silence it, and 2, you don't get that mana crystal immediately. The extra attack on the Greedy Sprite can be important, but the 1 health just makes it quite easy to kill. Also, for 1 extra mana you can play the Mire Keeper, which I think is a better card because it gives you 3 attack and 3 health, more of a sticky body, which is important if you're trying to ramp up your mana, because when you're doing that you don't often have much board presence, so it can be really quite slow play, but playing the Mire Keeper does at least give you something on the board. So Greedy Sprite, I don't think you'd want to play it in a Jade Druid, but if there is an emergence of other kind of Druid decks, then perhaps you would play the Greedy Sprite over the Jade Blossom, because of course if you're not playing other Jades, the Jade Blossom just only gives you a 1/1. Interesting card. I don't think it's terrible, I don't think it's great, but I think it might see a little bit of play. So the final card to show you for today I think is pretty decent. It's called the Void Ripper. It's a neutral epic minion, costs 3 mana, has 3 attack and 3 health, so the stats are pretty good. And it has a battle cry of swap the attack and health of all other minions. Now this battle cry we've seen before in the game. It can be really, really good. It can help you out of a lot of situations. It can be really bad because it can help the opponent by giving their minions more attack, and then other times it can just not really affect the board. Well, in the instances where it doesn't affect the board, it's still a 3 mana 3/3, so that's okay and not a downside to put in your deck really. In the instances where it helps your opponent, well, it is a battle cry, so you don't have to play it, so you can control that. And in the instances where it's really good, I think it can be really strong. And one option that springs to mind is if you're a druid and you play Spreading Plague. Let's say you have 5 of your taunt minions out, they've all got 5 health, 1 attack. Your opponent can't kill them, comes back to your turn the next turn. You play Void Ripper and suddenly you've got a board full of 1 health and 5 attack minions, and you could combine this with Savage Roar and there'd be 1 health, 7 attack minions, so that can be a cool combo. And often Spreading Plague does stay around, so the turn you play it, the next turn your opponent can't often kill all of them, so it could be a really cool card to play after Spreading Plague. I mean, obviously there's going to be loads of combos. Void Ripper would kill the Marin the Fox chest, for example. So I quite like it. It's not overpowered. It will probably only go into certain decks that kind of have good combos for it, but I like it. It's also one that you could just play on turn 3. So if it helps you, if you've already got a small minion on the board and it helps you trade that minion into your opponent's minion and kill it, then you could play it on turn 3 and it would still be worth it. So for example, if you're playing against your opponent's got a Void Walker on the board, which is 3 health and 1 attack, and you've got a 1/1 minion, you play your Void Ripper, the Void Walker changes to 1 health and you can trade your 1/1 in and you get some great value. So I quite like it, and I think it will see some play. Okay everyone, thanks for watching. Make sure you give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.